Alright, now for another ugly hack to get a dependency installed in package source, so you could be at a point where you could have a base system by which you can struggle with getting other things to port. Hopefully on the long and windy road to getting things like Firefox and Thunderbird installed in Haikuos. Okay, it's going to be Python 277, and I've done a similar video already, actually. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate that package source is able to globally override the absence of the math library when it attempts to compile Python 2.7. The way I installed it before was an ugly hack. I think I'm going to do it again because this one goes quicker. But I haven't even uploaded the other one yet. So I'm just going to do it again. So I guess I'm going to uninstall it, and I guess I'm going to have faith in my own voodoo magic when getting things installed in package source. Just for reasons that are unclear to me, other stuff is not installing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to package delete. After I save a copy of the binary. So what I'm going to do is go into home, package source, develop, no, it's language, sorry. Language, go here to Python 27. And I could speak slower if necessary. Go here. Where is my, okay, there's the work directory. And there's my package. I'm going to copy this. That's not a true package, in case you're wondering. It's got parts. It's parts as parts in this one. There's still got some parts from other parts, and just kind of put the parts together and cross my fingers and hope things work. So I'm going to get rid of this Python, if it'll actually respond to my keyboard. Python 27, is it? All right, getting rid of Python 27. Now, if I wanted to reinstall that target file, I would just do package add space name of file, and as long as it was in the subdirectory that held that target zip, it would actually reinstall it just the way I had it. So I can proceed without fear. And we have some of the parts that I copied over. The checksum didn't work, of course, because I cheated. I may have even just simply created. Oh, so this is going to be long and windy, so it's going to be ugly. But not as long and windy as the other one that I did. Maybe I'll upload the other one just for curiosity's sake. Okay. First of all, let's clear this. Start with a new slate. I'm going to go into languages. cd space ... up arrow. Again, cd language, lang, Pyth 27. All right, so okay, I'm going to do this demonstration up front. right here and in your face. Okay, let's go into package, etc. Make.conf. See this line here, building transform. Very important. It makes a difference between success and failure, and a lot of tedious work you'd have to do. Now, what's this supposed to be about? This LM is supposed to represent the math library. The math library is supposed to be embedded in libroot. What this does is when the compiler tries to look for a math library that doesn't exist and fails, instead it ignores the fact that the math library isn't there and allows it to still compile, and it should work in theory based on what I've read over at Haikuos, the website, is that because libroot's being called anyway, it'll still work as far as when you run the application. But I haven't had perfect success, so maybe I misunderstood that, but this is as far as I've gotten. So here we are. So I'm going to save this file, which has already been saved, so just close it. We do bmake install, and it's going to fail at something. It's going to say something about LM, but let's just do it. I didn't make clean. Damn it. I have to make clean. If I don't make clean, it's just going to install the binary package I've already created. That's not the way this is supposed to go. So, we're going to do package delete again. And then we're going to make clean, bmake clean. Cleaning for Python. All right, so I have that make.conf commented out, and we're going to see where we error now and where we error later. My suggestion is that Haiku Porter, just like it's able to ignore dependencies when it builds something, that it do this also. So people don't have to actually, they don't actually have to patch for a missing library. The Haiku Porter will take care of it, whatever way this does it. But of course, I'm using an undocumented feature that was born out of accidental experimentation on my part. So what I'm saying is the package.src people might not know that this actually works. So we'll find out. I mean, in this manner, by putting it in make.conf. They might not. If you think about it, oh yeah, it's possible. It's not documented. All right, let's do the bmake install and note the first error that we have. Okay, so it's going to unzip its stuff. It apparently knows where OpenSSL thinks its stuff is. That's good. Boot. It's looking for boot home package. All right. It's unzipping the source code. It's going to try to patch something. It's going to try to create toolchain wrappers, which I don't even know what those are. Eventually it's going to try to compile, and eventually it's going to have an error. So I'm doing this to demonstrate that it is possible to override some patches and not actually have to patch. If we're able to somehow configure the way things compile. Not in configure files, but on a system level for things that are common. Okay. I know this part isn't very exciting. Let's take a gaze at our make.conf one more time. I've got that commented out. I will confess that I'm willing to accept both the VIM and Pine license. That is completely unimportant at this stage. Maybe this is going to take too damn long. Now it's doing the configure function. This nightly is about 2 weeks old. It's July 31st, 2014. Still checking for whatsits and doohickeys and gaskets and horse wedge nuts. Eventually we're going to get to an error. It's going to say, oh, we don't have that. You don't have that thing. What are you doing? No. Okay, there's get time of day. I didn't use Photoshop doing this. Alright, so now it's going to try to build something. There's a number of dependencies you have to have installed. The only ones, the only ones that I've gone over that have given me problems are the ones that give me problems. If it hasn't given me a problem, I haven't bothered with it. Okay, here's our error, and it's saying that I did not find LM. So, we have two choices. We could hunt down where LM is being called, or we can edit our configuration file. So what this does, as far as I understand, it does some kind of sed or awk or, you know, this is what I've read. I don't know what it means, but I remember the words sed, awk, and replace something with something else, and I think, or remove. So what it's doing is removing the check for the -LM, but let's take a look at it as it happens, as the magic happens here. So this is, I was hoping to find a lot of these kinds of things, so we just wouldn't have to constantly look through source code and hunt things down and tediously patch things when we could work around it, basically. Do them again. Bmake install. Cannot find LM. That's, you know what? Okay, here's the other thing you have to do. You actually have to close the terminal and open it back up. Otherwise, any changes you make to make.conf will not register in the current terminal that you're in. Okay? Done this twice. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not worried. Alright, so I have aliases. So I'm going to go. I might have to make clean, actually. Okay, there I am. Bmake install. I figured that I should use make that uses a I do have to make clean, actually, so we're going to make clean. Make clean. Getting back to what I was saying. I figure that, if I'm using an operating system that features the BSD license, that I should use BSD make. Actually, the results don't really differ all that much, and I've tried both GCC4 and GCC2, and I really haven't had much difference in results. Okay, let's try this sucker again. It should have, the new terminal should have read, oh yeah, another thing, don't run 2 terminals at the same time. It'll break package source's ability. If you're running 2 installs at the same time, it'll break its ability to finish the install when it gets to the man page stage. Don't know why. But I'll show that. I think I remember what package that was in here. But I can't show it happening. So anyway, bmake install. Let's do it again. So we're starting all the way from the beginning. So, case number 1, build link was commented out, set to be ignored. It didn't work. Now it's going to get a little further, and if you look closely at the output, it'll do something during the compilation process. We're just kind of ignoring. I don't know exactly what it says. Let me catch my camera here. Now it's going to patch for Python. Now, any new packages that I make, there's got to be a way to get that into a Haiku package. Diffs could be run, but on a couple of these things, I don't know. I may have a slightly newer version in some cases than what's in Haiku. Maybe these videos will help someone remember if they didn't catch everything they patched. Okay, it's still doing Python interpreter. Whoop-de-doo. So whatever happens during this setting in make.conf or mk.conf actually, that's located in boot, home, package, etc. It's called mk.conf. What it does is it does its magic apparently during the configure stage. So the configure file will pass on the fact that, so instead of having to keep track of what line we're patching the configure file for, under this circumstance we're actually able to cause it to simply create a configure file or a make file that does what we want. It's rigmarole here, so this is just the configure stage. It's checking all these headers to see if they're there. Don't know why. Don't know why Python 27 would want a Bluetooth header file, but hey. Now, at some point, we're going to have to admit it has, well, once it fails, we'll know that the failure is not the same, and we've overcome that first error. But it will, we're not there yet, but the compile time will be longer than it was before. And yeah, the main cause behind this is we have something called libroot that incorporates the functions of both the math library and some other stuff. A lot of programs just want to look for something called math library that's separate from libroot. Looks like it's compiling something or other, but I think it was doing that already anyway. Now, the error that it's going to come up at, it's going to get to this script called h2py.py. And I'm going to have to edit that. I might have to edit that. so that it's pointing to the right header subdirectory. But I just try to use the ignore flag. You can have it compile and ignore the errors and keep going. And the goal here is for the compiler to make as much of this thing as possible. So when we take the other parts from folders in the boot system directory, that it'll do what we want. So now it got to the point where it says it's installing for Python, but so Python's been made. It's not really installed. Maybe it's creating its copy in the .destination directory folder. I know it's going to fail when it tries to compile h2py.py. There it is. Okay, so it's looking for a header called in.h in the user include directory. See, a bin env is not going to solve that. Just for your information. But if we had an invisible user directory, like we have for temp, which was very good, this wouldn't happen. But we refuse to do that. Instead, we want to have a bin env. Okay, so this is Python, so every time whoever's doing Python is going to have to do something with something at some point. So let's go here to tools and scripts, which is actually in the package source directory. Boot home, package source, languages, Python 27, work, and where the hell was I? Couple directories up. Here's the tools and script. That's fun. I don't remember where I looked last time. There are tools. There's tools. There are scripts. There's scripts. Is there a h2py.py? Oh yeah. So yeah, we got this far, right? We didn't get this far before. Math library's been ignored. So, these, when they're labeled like this, you just have to say, I don't want this to be, these are all text files. .py files are all text files. They should be associated as text editable to start with, at least on the developer edition. But if you want to change that, go to file type, select text, done. Close the sucker. Open with styled edit. We're looking for the string, yeah. User bin env Python. User bin, see? User bin. Now let's make this thing writable. I changed it down here to make it writable. So we still kind of need that user directory. Go over here and save it. I am really interested in finding out where this include is. It's going to be a long... I'm going to look for user include because this has got too many damn includes. In fact, I shouldn't have that over there. /usr, which is what I'm calling the user directory, include, let's find, let's go. Ah, well, there we go. So I am going to look in, not user include. In fact, I'm going to do find and replace. So edit, find and replace, user include. We're going to do boot, home, package, and include for me. Now, if you're just in Haiku, figure out where you want to put that include directory. I think it goes in. Oh wait, that's not writable. I'm sorry, but maybe you only need to be able to read it. But if you need to write to it, too bad. Figure out what you got to do because it's in or cross compile somewhere. It's probably what they did before anyway. You got to go into boot system, develop. Maybe includes up here. You know, I'm not sure, actually. I know there's an include directory. I'm just too lazy to look for it. All right, so we're going to replace all those. So now we're doing boot home package include. We're going to save this guy. And maybe, I didn't do this last time. You know, I might have more success here. Let's see what happens. Bmake installs due no time. I'm not holding my breath. I may have to. No, I think it'll go on. It'll get to this compile.py thing that it's going to want to fail there. And Python seems to want to go back and redo stuff that's already done, which is really annoying. But it's the way it is. That looks different. I think it's going to get compile all.py and just bomb out there. If it doesn't, then I'm going to want to keep a copy of this h2py.py because, wow, this will be my first success actually. Nope. Compile all.py. There's your line 16 in module. It's the import struct thing. Nothing really works at this point. And this is where it gets tricky, actually. Now, here's a trick. I'm going to have to edit the compile all.py file on line 16 and comment out struct, which is the thing that's failing. I have to keep it open with styled edit. When I go to do bmake install again, it's going to try to replace the file that I just edited so it would compile. So it'll warn me. It says, hey, this file's been replaced. Do you want to revert back to what you had? I'm going to say, yes, go ahead and revert. And I got to do that before it finishes its shebang. And I also, since it's going to error out something to do with zlib.py, these probably has something to do with the pathing. Okay, these scripts I think are riddled with user, include directories. I can make if I really wanted to make my live submission on searching for user directory strings and files, I could, but it just doesn't make for a very fun operating system to work with. And this is where I say right now I'm going to say this. We've done a good job re-implementing Haiku, but I think we really ought to have two branches of this OS. One's the B re-implementation, and one is one that we allow to grow and evolve. And I think we really ought to have two branches of this OS. One's the B re-implementation, and one is one that we allow to grow and evolve. And I think we really ought to have two branches of this OS. One's the B re-implementation, and one is one that we allow to grow and evolve. into something that's easier to use important tools like Python. Because if we're sitting here and struggling and tracking patches every time a new Python comes out, and the most we're able to muster is not much as far as apps that desktop users want to use, we end up not being a desktop user-friendly operating system. We end up being an unused operating system. And I don't think we put all this effort into the operating system just so it would be unused. And this is one reason. Sure, people could work very hard and they can keep struggling with this and spending twice as much time to do the same thing in something else. But most people, when they come upon complications in their life, they find ways to avoid it. So if we can make it easier for our developers, we ought to do that. Okay, so that's my pitch. All right, so let's go back to this. I need to actually edit this compile.py, which happens to be in the destination directory. Okay, so Python does a two-stage install. It does a basic setup, and then it tries to install the modules. Okay, it's trying to do that. It shouldn't matter whether it's in a .dest directory unless there's actually some kind of bug in Python that can't handle that kind of thing. And I haven't looked into it, and I don't have the time for it. So compile all py is in the same directory, I believe, if I remember right. Okay, so it's gonna work. Python 2.7. Let's go back. Maybe it's not. Probably isn't. Okay, 2 points. Work destination directory. And this is just absolutely no fun. Home package. And also, for some reason, the compiler will only create this static link library. It won't create shared libraries. Python 2.7, and that's a problem because it won't install properly. At least package source will think that there were files missing. And I know there were shared libraries on the system because I could search for the same library and find it with the .so extension. So, okay, where are we? Compile all.py. Okay, so we open this up. Styled edit. Okay, I could actually read the damn thing. Alright. Line 16, here's the struct thing. Okay, so I gotta keep this thing open. When weird shit like this happens, it means that the people that made the program never imagined that your operating system would respond the way that it does, I think. This is my belief, anyway. And so they allow things to happen in the background that they wouldn't have allowed otherwise, of course, if they developed this in Haiku. Don't know what that is. I suspect it's the fact that we can't write to certain directories. But whatever. I have no proof. Alright, let's do this again. And bmake install is the same thing as a GCC make install. It's no different. There's no magic. No one's going to die if I use bmake. Okay, so eventually it's going to go, hey, we've replaced your... Because it, as I said, Python will redo stuff it's already done for whatever reason, but won't undo enough. Alright, here it is. So I gotta hurry up. Recover. Reload. 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 I may have missed it. If I don't do it fast enough, it keeps trying. But there it is. It still should be there. So this is going to get all the way to zlib. And it's going to fill at zlib. Don't know why. So what really has to happen is I have to do bmake minus I install. And minus I, what it does is ignores errors. And then it's going to say it's missing a bunch of files, and basically what I have to do is there's a zip file. I'm still going to keep this file open over here because, once again, it's going to try to erase it. So even though it's done all that work, it doesn't go back and keep what it's done before. So it'll get past this zip library thing because I've ignored the error with bmake -I. And what will end up happening is that I'll have to go scavenge around the main system and copy a bunch of files and put them into place. And I better recover that now. It's making a lot of stuff, it just isn't making everything. I don't know what struct does. I wish I knew what it did, and I wish I actually knew how to overcome the error that's in there. But I don't. So it could be something's hard coded in there, but I've looked at Haiku ports in this case and I haven't seen anything that directly addresses that issue. Now, every time there's a math library error, and there's probably been hundreds of them, it just ignores it because of what... It's really not an error. It's just the compiler... automatic manual page handling. And after that, it's going to say, cannot stat this file, cannot stat that file. Yeah. So it won't make the package, and it won't officially install it. It keeps everything in place. Where that comes from is there's a file called package list, but I'd have to make clean before I even started and look for all these things. There's pickle files, there's all these things that you'd have to go search. So let me just go through the list because I don't feel like doing this again. I'm just going to install the package. Alright, so there are two files that are mislocated on the package list, I think. Now I got this out of order. There are identical files in the C types folder. All these that are in the okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over this all the contents of the lib dynload folder. Actually, files are actually on the system. I'm still in my destination directory. It's looking for this directory. Problem is, it only has one module. So I'm going to go into lib pro 5, I don't know, 512, whatever. Right. BEPC core, so what is it now? Actually, I don't want to go that far. I'm in Perl. What am I doing in Perl? So, just gonna copy this, chuck it up here. This will actually take care of most of my issues. I still have to keep this thing open. Just gonna want to rewrite it again. The whole damn thing again, maybe. Okay, so now it's looking for the libpython shared object. There's a test directory. All these modules start with test. Oh god, I gotta sort this out. Okay, coding. Come on. PYO and PYC. All right, so now the method to do is touch work dot destination directory boot. See, this is not really a real thing. Packages boot home package pkg library. But it won't do any different if I just did it from source. It's not package source. I've already tried that. Package library pyt python 2.7 test. I gotta call it. Okay, we're gonna go test underscore unicode pyo and do pyc and test multi-byte codec. And PYC. Test coding. PYC. Okay. I know it's not going to work yet, but it's going to be pretty quick and tell me what it doesn't have. And it's a lot of stuff still. And I can go fishing around. I'll be able to find these other, grammar pickle and libdynalo. There's still stuff missing from there. Now this thing with the libpython SO. Oh god. That's all this is. So you have to file, copy, go over here. Okay, maybe, I don't know. It won't even write there, will it? Okay, so I'm going to go into my home directory. I'm going to go file, paste, and then go down here. Where is it? rename it to what's it looking for exactly? SO, SO.1, SO.99, I don't know. 2.7 SO, I've actually already done this before, so file, copy, but you would just edit it. Right click, edit name. Change the A to .so, okay? Same exact file size. Doesn't matter what the label is, as far as what I've found. Now, whether the linker likes it or not, I have no freaking idea. Now, why is that? No, because that's already there. File, paste. So now we got one more off our list. And then, of course, it wants to also be called 0.1.0. File, copy, and file, paste. Okay, what else do we got here? We need to go into, we need to touch it to JSON test Unicode PYC. So package what? Lib dynaload nis.so. These are all libraries. I don't know why they're missing. I don't know why they wouldn't compile. Could it be the math library? Well, yeah, that seems to be the obvious thing, but if what they're saying at the Haiku website is true, math library is buried in library. BSD DB what 185.so. And if you're curious, I don't think those shared libraries exist in Haiku. They would be in Lib Python 2.6 test and whatever. Some of them do, some of them don't. Alright, since you get the idea, and I don't feel like doing this for another half an hour, I am going to do package add, because I'm not insane. So, where did I put that damn thing? Oh, desktop. Okay, fine. Of course you're going to do that. Okay. This is why you want to save your target zip files. And I'm done. Now, again, I normally wouldn't finish that way. I would, either go hunt for the equivalent files on the main system, or use the touch command to make 0-byte files with identical names that this installer is looking for, and then move on. Which can be very tedious. And don't know why those things aren't compiling or being created. At least the maintainers at pkgsrc think that those files are supposed to appear when it's done. Didn't have that problem in NetBSD, so go figure.